Big news at Oakland, and a look at the Atlantic League in Week 2, all on this week's episode of the Indie Ball Report podcast. Back now, episode 321 of the Indie Ball Report podcast. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good. I waited long enough on the delay this time, so that's big.
I know. Proud of you. We're getting there.
What a garbage
It's going to be the real struggle here is I'm fighting the delay and the fact that I now have orthodontic work in my mouth at the same time, so I can't talk as quickly as I normally do, which might be a good thing. It also could be a terrible thing.
Yeah, man. This is thrilling. This is fun. And nothing like being like, yeah, Ryan might have to carry a little more of the weight on the podcast on a podcast where I'm like, all right, I'm probably not ready for that, but sure.
Well, luckily, you should be more than prepared, though, actually, because remember, last week you did 9 teams with the wrong league, and that league's this week.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I have a lot of like the player stuff done. It's just that, you know, like indie leagues do, you learn what the roster is like 30 hours before the season, maybe. And then you got to figure out what exactly all those stats mean and like do a deep dive analysis. And every once in a while it overlaps with your wife's birthday and the start of another league. You're like, oh, this could be bad. So I have notes mostly on players. I'm just going to try to like squeeze together thoughts on actual teams here.
It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
How bad could it get?
I don't know. For example, I'm really looking right now to be like, how many of these guys was actually prepared for showing up on this roster? Oh, hold on. Good number. No, not that many. Bummer. Well, Gateway's pitching staff might be shortchanged in this conversation.
Well, before we get to the preview, we got one piece of news and a league to talk about.
One piece?
And so we'll start with that one piece in Oakland. They got a lease extension. The city and the Ballers have agreed to a 10-year lease extension at Ramundi Park. The owners want a Wrigleyville-style area around the ballpark. Looks like they're going to invest in that a little bit. And we should expect some more regional development. Keep in mind, they just raised over $3 million from fan investment. So they do have some cash going around at the moment. It does seem like there is a high civic buy-in still on here. Thoughts on the Ballers 10-year extension? They should be good till like 2035, 36 now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm still hesitant on the whole thing. That's been clear since the jump.
Yep.
But I am just looking for the link here. I think... So all right, here's the main takeaway I have is feels like the Pioneer League must have either locked something in or been really close to locking something in for other markets out west. Because it's been pretty clear they're not looking to continue this sort of 2 teams out there arrangement and then the rest of the teams in the normal footprint they've been operating on for a few years before Oakland and now Yuba. So the fact that they would want to go something long-term tells me that there is some sort of movement on another organization or 2 out there. I'd assume 2. And by out there, I mean generally west. I know we've talked to Oregon a lot, but I don't really know. I've suspected a couple other markets out in California, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to dig into the available markets conversation today. That's a whole other episode. And we already have a bunch of content today.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I got beat on it, too. It seems like the league feels comfortable enough with their plan of expansion. I think we always knew it was going to be west. I think it's more outside that traditional footprint and trying to really get that 2 half setup here between the 2 leagues. Almost like a frontier league type setup where you have your kind of northeast type teams and then your Midwest area. So
right.
Pros and cons to that, but it is interesting. It does bode well for Oakland fans. I am just interested to see how high that support remains the further away from the A's departure we get.
Yeah. I have other thoughts on this. I'm going to get into that another time because I'm still digging into some stuff, but this will probably come back up in another week or 2. That's what I'll say, probably around the Pioneer League thing, because there's some other interesting details to it that I'm still trying to confirm, but I think I found in some paperwork and some meeting notes. I will say I'm going to use this. This could fit in a few places because we're going to be talking about the Frontier League's sort of weird arrangement of divisions and leagues. And we're pitching sort of at all times, maybe a more of a pod league type situation with, the Pioneer League and having a group out west and like the main group up in maybe one in Colorado area and then one up in like the Montana area, just to simplify travel a little bit. The concept that I really like, and I was frankly unaware of, which is weird for me in the obscure sports world, is I didn't know that the AHL structure for the playoffs is something that I firmly endorse, which is they have 4 divisions. Every one of those divisions is guaranteed a Final Four team, but getting to that, it is up to the divisions to decide how they want to do their playoff format. So there's like 3 different playoff formats happening across that league, and it's kind of awesome. And I think that's great. Like, I think that I kind of love, and I sort of wish that was what was going on, like in the Frontier League, for instance, where they have uneven numbers of teams. I'd always love the idea of relying on, a division winner and a wild card or whatever to fill playoffs when, objectively it's easier to win division, a 4-team division than a 5-team division. That's the balance you're working with right now. I love the idea of like, no, like when it comes to the Final Four playoff spots, each division will get 1 team, and it's up to that division how they want to decide that. I think it'll be funny. I think it'll be really funny and chaotic if one division was like, we're doing 2 halves, and another division was like, we ain't doing 2 halves. Like, I think that'll be funny too. Like, if we're going to be indie ball, we should be maximum indie ball. I love it. And to the thing you mentioned earlier, which is funny, something I never even thought about. I really like the idea, and we're fully off track here, so I'm going to bring it back here in a second, is I really like the idea of they should get to pick the rules. If they want to do DH, do DH. If they want to not, do not. If they want to do the home run derby thing at the end of 9 innings, do that. If they want to do the Frontier League's weird 1 inning thing, which I hate, and we need to maybe pick that apart a little bit soon because it's dumb. There's that. Or if they just want to play until the players die, that's also an option. After 13 innings, the fans play. Let's get weird. Or you do banana ball after this. Like, I don't super hate it. That is, by the way, a concept that I think would be funny is they do 1 inning banana ball as extra innings. Just saying. Anyway, one more. We're doing one more before we move on from Pioneer League talk. I love the Pioneer League. I've said this many, 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 many times. I had a Pioneer League guy in my DMs blasting me for defending the bananas.
Okay.
Brother, if your game is tied after 9, you do a home run derby. You need to settle down. Do not be going crazy about real baseball and not. It's a real baseball in the Pioneer League, and it is a different type of baseball in banana ball. But you don't get to start being like, it's not real baseball when you're just sending up like whichever dude's hitting the bench harder and can swing it hard to determine if you're winning a full baseball game in 1 swing. That's not what we're doing here. All right, I'm done. Sorry. I don't like our extra innings policies across indie ball right now. It's fine. That was a ride. I'm sorry. You told me I was going to start carrying the talking.
That's really my mistake. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, well, live and learn.
Today on choices.
But I do agree that I think it would be more fun to have a little bit more plug and play with the rules. Although I would love to see someone bring back ties. Let's have ties.
I don't hate ties.
I used to hate it a lot more, but at this point I'm kind of like, if we're gonna have kind of some bullshit extra inning rules here, then like ties are kind of okay.
My policy is okay. Can I pitch it?
Go for it.
So we don't do the full extra innings at any of the indie leagues right now. Mainly, and I don't really complain about that because it's pitcher wear, and these are leagues where it's already difficult to keep a healthy pitching staff. You don't want to hurt somebody where you're trying to get them signed. Like, let's keep things in perspective. I can get onto that.
It's just economically a bitch too.
Right. I hate it at the MLB level, but I can wrap my head around it at minor league and indie ball. So that's how I'm going to preface this. I don't mind this concept, right? The end of 9 innings, right? Both teams meet in the middle. Like managers meet in the middle. There are 4 options in front of them. play it out as is, like straight up old school extra innings. Ghost runner on second. The Frontier League's Weird Abomination half inning thing. Pioneer League home run derby, right? You have 4 options. The home manager gets rid of one option. The away manager gets rid of another option. The home manager decides between the remaining 2 of what the extra inning will be, right? The extra innings will be. If you do Pioneer League rule, Frontier League rule, Ghost Runner rule, if your team loses or wins regardless, it's like hockey where it's like, like with the shootout loss, right? Don't you get like a point?
You get a point if you lose in overtime. If you win, you still get both points.
See, so my way I would do it is 3 points a win, 2 points for winning in a shortened extra innings, 1 point for losing in a shortened extra, or 1 point for losing in a full extra innings, and 0 points for losing in shortened. So basically, you are incentivized by the point system to try to get fully through extra innings and a win. However, obviously, that might cost you down the road. So like, there's going to be some thoughts, and like, I really like the way we're lined up here. We're just going to go for the 2, whatever. That's my philosophy on it. I think, or just obviously, if you're not going to go crazy with there's multiple options, yada, yada, because then we're getting gimmicky, and I understand that. If it's just going to be, hey, here's how our league does extra innings. I think specifically the Frontier League and the Pioneer League, where you are removing the full extra inning. Like, you're not even playing Ghost Runner on second and both teams have a shot. You are taking much like a shootout. You're taking a baseball game and ending with a piece of baseball to decide it. I think you should have some sort of point format, would be my hot take in the standings. Anyway, that's something I've been thinking on way more than I'm comfortable talking about, but that's where I'm at.
Random thought here. I almost feel like you should get
Abby's not Albin?
Well, random thought for me now, so it's a little bit different. Sure. I almost feel like with the Ghost Runner, it'd be more fun if you got to pick where you want to start them, but depending on which base, you start with a certain amount of outs. So like you can start them at first, no outs, second, 1 out, third, 2 outs. So now it becomes like, okay, I could put him 90 feet away from scoring, but if I don't like the guy that's up to the plate right now, it's not exactly like I could even have him bunt him home or just try to get a sac fly or something. And out ends the inning. Second base, you still have a chance, right? It's still a very viable option, just 1 out. You can move him over, 2 outs, same boat pretty much, right? Or if you want no outs, run around first. Yeah, it's great. You still have the guy on. You have, you have 3 outs to give, but you hit something on the ground, double play ball. Now nobody on, 2 away. I almost feel like that makes it a little bit more interesting. That's a little strategy to it. Now, it doesn't help accomplish the goal of ending the game quickly, but it is a little bit more fun, a little more strategy in it.
I will say the math, and here's where I run into the issue with the Frontier League extra innings. The math clearly says you should always do runner on first, nobody out. Basically, you're scoring 60% of the time there. If it's a runner on second, you're scoring 54% of the time. If it's runner on third, you're scoring 37% of the time if you're changing the outs with each one. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. I got one for you.
Okay.
Okay, let's change this. How about this? If it is runner on first and nobody out, or runner on first and second and 1 out, that's almost even. That's 60% to 59%. Or bases loaded with 2 outs is 46%. So that's a sizable drop down. But I do think that's an interesting thought. Like, because maybe you gave up a couple runs in the top half. You choose to load the bases right off the bat and to see if you can get it done that way. And maybe.
I mean, it depends on what your lineup looks like. Who's the guy up and who's the guy right behind him? Right? You got your bottom of your lineup due up. You probably don't want to do that. But if you got, your 3, 4, 5 hitters all to do up.
Yeah, I mean, the only 2 comparable ones are really the runner on first and nobody out, or runners on first and second with 1 out. That's kind of the only one that works. Now, Frontier League, nothing has changed on that, if I believe. So they do what? They do the 1 inning and then the sudden death inning, correct?
in the Frontier.
Frontier.
I believe
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. So I don't hate the concept here. But it's always had the issue to me of the options are you're either the defensive team or you're the batting team. You can choose, and the batting team gets a runner on first and nobody out. The defense team will have 3 outs. Yeah, to keep the offense from scoring. Yeah, and basically the issue with that is if you start, as we just went over, with nobody out and a runner on first, in a normal situation, you have a 60% chance of a run scoring, which means you always choose to be the batter. If you're a Frontier League manager choosing to pitch, I mean, it better be an extenuating circumstance, my friends. Like, better be like the fattest part of the other, or like of the other teams, or the worst part of the other team's lineup, and you got your best pitcher. Like, if it's 7, 8, 9, maybe, but even then, you're one base runner away from having first and second with like the leadoff guy up. So, like, I'm in the weeds on that one. But if you're a Frontier League manager, I strongly advise send the boys to the dish.
Here, Rick. Well,
let the boar hit.
I think we've moved on from Oakland, and
Yes,
I think
so.
we're
Sorry.
a little off the train. So, being that
Yes,
we
we
have a
are.
long preview, let's go right to the Atlantic League right now. Got a quick talk about their second week, and then we'll head to the preview. So that way we don't have to break this up into 2 episodes again. Although it did seem like both episodes did well. Some people may like that. I don't know. But
hey, the fantasy baseball idea, are we thinking about doing that once the Pioneer League starts?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. We'll continue that. So that's a little something for people to look forward to. We're going to be getting after it. Let's roll. Are we doing Pioneer League next week?
Yeah, it's next week.
So maybe we'll intro the fantasy concept the week after and do week 1 of that.
I'm okay with that. Honestly, what I'm fine doing is we just started that first one in June.
Oh, that makes sense. That's
Yeah,
cool.
so that we get a clean start. So, all right.
All right.
So, Atlantic League, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Staten Island looks like they're off to a hot start. High Point and Lexington remaining fairly even up there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, honestly, it's been a very interesting start to the year so far.
Yeah, Charleston's still scuffling. That's really Lexington held their own against High Point, I'd say, but like, you know, High Point's a better team. Southern Maryland's holding up better than I would have expected. They went 0-5 and now 6-6. They won 6 out of 7, which is fairly interesting. But again, I mean, Charleston is not a great team right now, and they got 1 off of them. No, they got 3 out of 4 against them after dropping the first 2, and then they swept Lancaster. Lancaster's a weird one. I don't know what to do with Lancaster at this point. I have them as like the 3rd or 4th best team in that division, probably 3rd. But I think they're doing the typical Lancaster thing where we're not looking at the finished product for the year.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
That's the thing with me. I wanted to come on and talk about like, oh, should we be concerned about them? But I'm also like their second half team. So like at this point, I'm kind of content to ignore them in the first half. And then they get off to the similar start in the second half. Then I'll be concerned about that. But
okay, wait, can we do a super fast, like 5-minute long little Langley game here? Unless you have something in
I don't
mind.
really have much else planned for it. So if you want to go for it.
All right, sick. Let's do this. All right, let's start in the north. Staten Island Ferry Hawks are 9-3.
Yes.
Are you buying that, or are you selling it, thinking that like this is a high point for them?
A little more money here. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's the other thing we should have done in the planning session before this is planning up all that crap. But for now, I'm buying it. I'm a very conservative buyer on it, though. I don't think I buy too much of it, but I am interested to see if it keeps up.
Well, I think I'm in the same boat because I don't think the record is what I'm buying, but I think the first place in the north is what I'm buying. Like, I think that works. I don't know that 9-3 is necessarily the pace we can expect out of them, but I think we are looking at a fairly squishy North Division here.
Yeah, York's the
and I
wild
think
card
Staten
of this.
Island's going to cash that. Like, I think they're built to make the most of that.
The thing with Staten Island is right now, like, the offense is really good, and the pitching isn't bad either.
No, I agree. Yeah,
I just can't tell that's based off of opponents they played, or is that what they actually are?
I think they are what we just said. They are good, but this is a little better than what we should probably look at for the rest of the year. But still, it's not bad investment. Not a bad investment rather. So I think it's fine. All right, York is 8-4. What do you think?
I'd buy on York. I think they're going to keep getting better.
I think so too. Long Island is 5-7. They got 5-7 is about what they've been at. What do you think here?
Oh, that's a tough one there because, like, on one hand, right, they haven't looked good, but they're better than 5-7, I think.
Right. My problem is when you look at so they have been playing better. I mean, they just took 2 out of 3 from Staten Island, who we just were saying was really good.
Yeah.
And they took 2 out of 3 from York, so I guess kind of had to buy.
Yeah, it's just, here's the thing with them. I look at them and I go, there's 2 or 3 guys that are really doing the heavy lifting over there.
Right. That is the thing. It's not a complete roster. But here's my counter on that already.
Yeah.
And the reason why I think I'm buying is Lou Ford showed last year the tendency to improve. That team was better in the second half than the first half. I would suspect that'll probably be the case this year as he continues to kind of figure out what he wants with that. I feel like they probably are going to do well. I don't know. I feel like they're a 500-ish team.
Yeah. Yeah. I could get along with a 500-ish team.
All right, let's roll Lancaster real quick. What do you think? They're 4-8 right now. Lost 5 in a row.
Selling them for right now. 5 straight losses is concerning to me, and I don't like them in the first half.
Yeah, I'm going to buy. And I'm going to put one of those things on it where, I'm going to sell. I'm going to put one of those things on it where, like, if it hits a certain point, it's going to automatically buy again.
Yeah.
Where, like, because I'm ready. Like, I'm ready for this to go.
There is a buy
I'm not
order
going to
on
sit here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and hold this bad stock while it just tanks and tanks and tanks, being like, it's a second half stock. Like, I don't think that's a move.
Time in hands.
All right, Hagerstown 3-9.
Sell it. I'll eat the loss on the taxes.
It's a bad team. Rockers 9-3. Buying or selling?
I'm gonna buy them because I think they're closer to 9-3 than they are the inverse.
I agree, and they've done a lot to make the most of the fact that, like, because we said, like, I think we both said, like, they're the third best team in this division behind Gastonia and Charleston, and Gastonia and Charleston have both completely stumbled out of the gate and beat up with, like, and High Point has made the most of it. Like, that is exactly what you need from them. I think if they were like 7-5, I'd be more likely to sell, honestly, than 9-3 and buy. But yeah, I agree.
It's that cushion that they've built that makes you think, okay, maybe they're going to win this half now.
Right, exactly.
Because they can survive a lot now.
Yeah, right. They can have a bad week and probably still be hanging out at the top.
Yeah.
All right. Lexington 8-4. Could not sell fast enough, brother.
I don't want to sell.
3-3 in their last 6.
Yeah, I just don't like what they played so far.
Starting to look non-competitive at times. When the offense is bad, it is really bad. Like, that's the thing. And I honestly think if you look at where their wins came from, they had the hot start where they played Charleston, who we've mentioned a couple times has sucked so far. They have 5 of their wins are against Charleston. And then the other 2 are against Hagerstown, and then they got 1 off of High Point. So, like, they're literally playing last place teams and getting dubs off of them. Yeah. I gotta sell, dude. I don't think so. I'm open to this being a better team than I think, based off of there are some Pioneer League familiar decision makers there who might be actually making decisions based on guys who know the Pioneer League and know the Atlantic League and know that these guys, not everyone in the Pioneer can compete, but these certain dudes can. But I think they're getting really fortunate with their matchups.
I'd agree with that. I will say, I don't know how bad the regression is going to be. Whalen's still doing good. Drellis is doing better than I thought. Brian Fuentes has done very well so far. And we're still waiting for Colcado to show up. So
yeah,
I do think that's going to help him out a lot. It's just, this team doesn't feel like what they're playing like right now. So yeah, I'm in lockstep with it.
Yeah. All right, I'm with you there. Southern Maryland is 6-6. They've won 4 in a row. They did that by winning. They've now won 5 of 6, 2 of 3 against Charleston, and then swept Lancaster and Lancaster.
So
5-1 road trip for them, by the way. It's pretty good.
Still selling.
Selling, I agree. If I could hold for 3 more days to sell, I would, because they got Charleston again now at home. But also, I could see
that being where Charleston turns it around, though.
I could also see that too.
If they're both 6-9, like if they both walk away, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of this, 6-9 or 7, well, 7-8, I guess, and then 6-9, or what it wind up being. Would you really be that shocked?
No, not at all, dude. If they, if I had to guess, I'd say they're 8-10 this time next week because they got York coming right after Charleston.
True,
that could be ugly if that goes wrong. If York has them squared up, because I like that York team.
Yeah, I don't love this Southern Maryland team. I mean, like they always Wilson have done something, but everyone else is like, oh, and DiGiacomo, guy I pointed out. Just want to point that.
Such a good name. Let's see.
That pitching staff in Southern Maryland is putrid. Sample's the only thing that's a silver lining there, and I guess McCabe to an extent, but like, my God, get it together.
Right. All right, last 2, Gastonia
and Charleston, both of them. I'll tell you, I'm going to buy both of them because
both are 4-8. Yeah,
they're 4-8. I refuse to believe they're that kind of team.
Or 4 out of 10, rather. Yeah, I think Gastonia is a good team. I keep going back to Gastonia's start to the season was brutal. I mentioned it last week, but for a reminder, they are the ones they had York for 3 in a row. Not easy. They narrowly lost the first 2 games in extras and then got kind of smoked out in the third game a little bit. And then they had to turn right around from that game and play a doubleheader the next day with High Point. Once they got through that, they have gone to what are they now? So they started 0-5. Since then, they're 4-3. Like they'll be okay. They are the type of team that they tend to beat the teams they should beat, which is big. 2 out of 3 against Lancaster. They just dropped 2 out of 3 again against High Point, but that. They got 3 more against High Point. I would not be surprised to see them take 2 out of 3 because when Gastonia and High Point play, they split their games. That's what they do. And then they got Long Island. We'll learn a lot about Gastonia and Staten Island, but then they got Lexington, and then we'll see where it is from there. But yeah, I'm buying that for sure. And then Charleston, we've talked about. I think I know the direction they're going. They're going to be fine. They had a couple injuries, like Womack was out for a few days, just like a little banged up, but like he's been great. There's some really good players over there. They just lost what's his face though. Oh my God, the Cuban kid. I'm missing the name. Hold on one sec. I'll pull it.
Cuban kid.
He's good too. He probably was going to get a look for an MLB team. Hold on. Sorry. There we go. Pastano. He had 6 games. He was 7 for 21 with a double, a homer, 6 ribbies, and then got I think broke his wrist or his hand. So that'll probably be 2 months right there. And he's a catcher, so who knows? I could balloon to a 90-month or 90-day delay. So that sucks for them. So they got to backfill that. They did add someone though. What I'll say for both Charleston and Gastonia is they're not teams who are going to sit around and be like, well, I guess this is what's happening now. Like they will push. So they got Tyler Hill. They brought in Tyler Hill, which is interesting.
Also,
anyway.
you see who contract just got purchased?
Who?
Tomo Okasaka going to the Mariners.
Oh, good. Oh, that's a good market for him. Nice.
Yes, it is.
Love Japanese dudes out there.
So,
Famously love a Japanese outfielder.
Really? Have they ever had one?
I don't know. There's just cue the certainly no one who knows who Tom Brady is. My favorite Ichiro story. He gets like a text. He's like, "Who is this?" And it's Tom. Like, ask someone else. He's like, "It's Tom Brady."
Ichiro, the pitcher.
Ichiro Suzuki, the pitcher. Oh my God! The quick one is I was at the last Phillies game of the year one year. Bad Philly season, bad Marlins season, and this was in the Ichiro years in Miami. And all of a sudden, Ichiro comes out in the 9th to throw pitch, and we're like, "Oh." And like we all, like everyone in the ballpark goes, "Oh my God, like this is it." Like we're watching the last Ichiro game, like because he hasn't done that. And we're all like, not in like MLB, and we're like, this is what you do before you retire. Oh my God, I think he's retiring. And then he like proceeded to play like 4 more solid seasons. I was like, well, okay. Can I make, if you're good on the Atlantic League, can I make one American Association note before we hit the Frontier?
Just real quick, 2 points
Sure.
to remain. A couple points here. High Point, I think their pitching staff so far has been a little underrated. While the ERA isn't great, yes.
Mhm.
Overall, though, they don't. It's more like in bursts that kills them. When your whip is below 1.3 as a team and you're holding opponents to batting under 240, there's stuff that's going right. You just have, like, when it goes wrong, it goes wrong. So I think
it's one of those things, they're keeping guys off base, but for whatever reason, when they're getting guys on base, they also, like, things are happening in bunches. Yeah. They're giving up hits and walks in small amounts, but they're stacking up in a way that's making runs. And you're like, well, all right. Which that. I will, as a partial analytics guy, will intervene and say, well, a lot of that could also be situational pitching needs to be worked on, but I do tend to believe this early in the year is just bad luck.
Yeah. Quick 3 series to watch this week, at least for me. Prairie Hawks Legends this weekend.
Yeah, hot.
I think that's 2 teams that are hot so far. May not be able to tell that much from it, but who knows? Maybe this could be where it starts to diverge for them. And then the next 2 are both Gastonia series coming up. You have Gastonia and Long Island, and then Gastonia and Staten Island. I think that's a good test for the Ducks here. We get a team that's, a little bit of a slump, had a tough schedule so far. Coming into town, we'll see how that goes for them. And then a really nice test for Staten Island, a team that we at least believe to have more talent on the roster than the Ferry Hawks do. How they match up against them, it will be a good test. That's coming up not necessarily this week. It's 16 through 18, but I do want to mention it because they will play at least 1 game prior to us getting to mention it again. So Duck series is 13 to 15. Hawk series is 16 to 18. Something to look out for this week.
Yes. I don't have any series I would add to that. Yeah.
And then only other thing here before we get to that association point. Do we have a team most in need of a good week this week? And do we have an early MVP pick?
Hold on. I got you there.
Because MVP was early on. I know where I'm going. Pick.
Yeah, I don't know if I have that, but I can find. I can get there. Okay. I do think Gastonia. Hold on, let me just see. No, why am I looking like this? Let me just pull up the team schedule. I'm like trying to look through the league schedule and be like, where's Gastonia? Bad idea, right? So I would say, I think this is a huge week for High Point. I think as they're coming, I don't know what they're going to do this weekend with Gastonia. I predicted they drop 2 out of 3, but they might take 2 out of 3. Sure. That would open them to probably a 3 to 5 game lead over Gastonia, right? And believe it or not, we are at that point almost a quarter. At the end of this week, we'll be about a quarter of the way through the first half, I think. No, we're about a quarter of the way through the first half after the weekend almost. But so High Point the next week has 6 games against Lexington, home and away. And I think it is a valuable opportunity to get Lexington off their tail, try to bury them, expose that team for what we think they probably are, get some breathing room there, and at the same time cash in a bit of that room they've already started to build up over Charleston and Gastonia, because right after these 6 games, they go 3 with Charleston, 3 with Gastonia, 3 with Charleston. So it's going to be tough there. And then they got 3 with Hagerstown, 3 more with Charleston. So they either get your breathing room while you can, get your runs while you can. I think despite where Lexington is in the standings, I do suspect that this is a team that they could make the most out of in this matchup. So yeah, that's my pick for that. And I'm just going to buy some time before you say anything about early MVP pick. But what are you thinking coming up for important weeks?
I think Gastonia has a week where I'd like to see them do something here. Like I was just saying with the series preview, Ducks are a 50-50 team right now. It's a series for them, but it's as much for the Ducks as it is for Gastonia. You have a bad series there, lose 2 or 3, then now you're not looking so hot going into a series against a team that is one of the hotter teams across the board in indie ball at the moment. So it's not going to be exactly an easy series against Staten Island. I mean, you look at it just from 13 through 18. I'm not going to talk about their 9 through 11 game right now. More importantly, just that 2 stretch in New York, if you only walk with 2 wins out of those 6, that's a bad spot to be in at this point. And you're going to reach the end of May very quickly going, are we just going to start looking towards the second half at this point? Because you figure High Point will have built out a little bit of a lead there. And you're going to be left looking at a pretty tall climb. Already you're going to have to climb 5 games as it is now. But I mean, 5 games at this point, you can manage it pretty easily. But even still, things add up quick, man. And if you have a rough week, it could be too late before we hit Memorial Day even.
Yep, exactly.
So for them, I need to see them win at least one of those 2 series. And winning against a good team you haven't seen yet would mean a lot more to me too.
And especially, I mean, it's the flip side of the High Point thing. Like, Gastonia needs to win games because, you got, High Point with the opportunity to really gain some games on you and continue to open up that gap. So you got to do what you can, man.
Yeah, you got to get it while you can. As far as the MVP point goes, there's really 3 candidates in my mind at this point. And obviously the way too early one of it. And
yeah,
even more like in 3rd place, comfortably 3rd, but not like insurmountably 3rd. I look at Viola over in Long Island. I think he has shown a good bit and probably the best offensive piece in the North so far. So definitely looking at him as a guy. The other 2, both in the South, one would be Evan Edwards. I like him so far. Good amount of power. The strikeouts not great, but hey, for this, we're looking at what are you doing offensively, and he's doing a lot offensively there. And then currently, the guy I'm looking at as my kind of favorite, but again, very early yet, is Justin Wiley. I mean, consistently, he's been good, and he's hitting for power. He's getting on base, and he's doing a hell of a lot for this Gastonia team. And he's only been held without a hit in 2 games, 1 game so far. I think only 1 against High Point. Even then, did he reach base? He did. So he's reached base in every game so far this year. That means a good bit to me. So if you're getting on base, you're doing something right. On base percentage over 400 so far. That's always nice to see. And OPS of over 1,200. So doing a lot right. Justin Wiley's kind of the guy I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. I'm interested by Troy Viola. He projected as not nearly what he's been doing. So that's why I'm keeping an eye on it, but I'm also not overly excited because I think he'll come back to earth a little bit. I mean, even in the last, yeah, he's on a good streak right now, though. So I don't know. It's interesting. The 6 home runs thing seems like not the most maintainable, but we'll see. I don't think he's on a 60 homer pace. But I do think, I don't know, I'm interested with that. I'm hesitant on Troy Viola, but that's a different conversation. I would probably say Brady Whalen. I would probably say, Justin Wiley's a really good pick. And I don't know, maybe that's just kind of what I got right now. I find Evan Edwards interesting. So then, Justin Wiley's probably my guy too, though. Not to double down, but that's where we're at. Last one. Did I see a weird transaction come through? Hold the phone. Let's see what we got. I wonder if Luke Napleton got signed.
Yeah,
went on the inactive list yesterday, and he's been incredible.
Could be.
I mean, or he could be injured. I mean, he's only got 6 games, but he's been really good in those 6 games. He's slashing .571, .640, .952. It's crazy, dude. So I don't know. Maybe he got picked up by somebody. Pablo Sandoval, by the way, having a good start to your shout out. He was underwhelming last year, but this year he's actually delivering on the promise of it. It's fun.
Saw Kelly Dugan retired too.
Oh, it slipped past my radar. Really?
Yeah, it's on the transaction list.
Damn.
Yeah, Kelly Dugan retired and Darius Richards released. No,
wow, Dugan, baby.
Yeah, retired.
Yesterday. Bubba. I don't like that. It makes me sad. And also feel old. That's a me thing. I'm not gonna make that a Dugan thing.
So association point.
32. I don't know. Yeah. My association point was just went pretty hard on Lincoln. Not backing down from that. got a lot of positive feedback from especially people around Lincoln. Like multiple fans were like harsh, but thanks. However, I will say encouraging signs this week. One, personally encouraging. Right after I was like, who the hell is going to pitch on this team? They gave up like 18 runs in a spring training game, like literally that day. So aged like a fine wine. But then they have made a series of moves since then. And it does indicate that Lincoln is like aware of a problem and trying to actively fix it, which is fantastic. Signed catcher Jake Ortega. They got Derek Mabin from Chicago. They got they put Jake Diekman on the IL. Don't know what to make of that. And then they picked up Matt Mullenbach. Made a couple, and they dropped a couple guys. So they're moving. There's other guys that they're working on right now. It's good to see.
Yeah.
But it is, gonna need to see a lot.
Here, right then. On that, we'll go to the plugs, and then we will get out of here. The preview has been split off, as you could probably tell by now, if you didn't see on social media, to Tuesday. So you'll get the full Frontier League preview on Tuesday, and it will be well over an hour and a half long. So you have that to look forward to. That will be on IndieBallReport.com. It'll be on the website. It'll be up on the Twitter space at IndieBallPod and on all the other socials that are at IndieBallReport. As far as Ryan stuff goes, you can find all that at IndieBall Nation. So have that to look forward to. And until next time, don't forget to play ball.